Manx Museum is 100 years old this year. It is home to an extraordinary collection of artefacts and archives that help tell the story of the Isle of Man and its people. To celebrate our centenary, we have curated a special exhibition and podcast, Museum 100, which will feature a kaleidoscope of treasures from our collections.
My name is Emma Cornu and I am the Library and Archives Conservator at Manx National Heritage. I'm going to talk about a document that was recently digitised, a copy of which is now part of the Archives wall display in the Museum 100 exhibition. It is a proclamation regarding the dissolving of the House of Keys on the 19th of March 1867. Proclamations are public announcements of official statements by a person of authority, in this case the Lieutenant Governor of the Isle of Man. This one announces that within 3 months after the promulgation of the House of Keys Election Act, members of the House of Keys cease to be members, and writs sent out according to the law for the election of members who are to serve under a new House of Keys. In the 1800s, these proclamations were posted as handbills, which are small printed notices that would be distributed by hand so that the public could be informed of the news, much like we hand out flyers today. We keep these in the archives as a record of these events and how information was distributed in the past. As these handbills are not meant to last, probably a few days at the most, they are generally printed on cheap, poor quality paper and with a cheap, poor quality ink. As we want to keep these as a record indefinitely, the poor quality materials become a problem, especially as over time the ink tends to eat through the paper. Sometimes the text is completely lost and the paper becomes too fragile to even lift up. This is due to a combination of a weak, acidic paper that loses strength as it ages, and the black printing ink, which is likely to have an oil binder. Over time this leaches into the paper, creates a brown halo, and breaks down the bonds keeping the paper together. When this happens, but we still want to access and use the item, my role as a conservator is to stabilise the item to enable this access. In this case, I needed to strengthen the paper and replace any missing text. Paper conservators have specialised materials and techniques to do this safely. Here I use Japanese paper to repair tears and losses from the back. Sometimes I even fully line the sheet from the back to give the original paper much needed strength and support. I use a strong but neutral adhesive, such as wheat starch paste, to make sure the support paper stays in place. It can then be safely handled for research, digitisation, or to go on display.